chosen ones. Have you ever noticed how peaceful your life became after you stepped away from the chaos? That silence you now cherish, the calm that surrounds you, isn't just a coincidence, it's divine alignment. But here's the twist. The same peace that blessed you is now haunting those who once mistreated you. It's a strange irony of spiritual law. The moment you withdrew your presence, the energy that once kept their world balanced began to fade, and now they're feeling the weight of what they lost. This isn't revenge, it's revelation. You see, in psychology, there's something called emotional homeostasis, the balance people feel when certain energies or relationships stabilize their lives. When you were around, your light brought clarity, calmness, and protection to their emotional world. They might not have realized it then, but your empathy, patience, and spiritual frequency were healing forces. When you left, that balance was disrupted. Suddenly, anxiety replaces peace, confusion replaces direction, and they can't understand why everything feels heavier. Spiritually, this is what's known as divine reciprocity, the universe restoring balance by allowing people to feel the absence of what they once disrespected. Many of them now watch your life from afar, scrolling through your pages, pretending not to care, yet consumed by regret. They thought your kindness was weakness, your forgiveness was foolishness, and your love was replaceable. But they're learning the hard way that no imitation can substitute divine authenticity. When a chosen one departs, heaven itself takes notice. Your silence becomes their mirror, reflecting everything they refuse to see, their pride, their betrayal, their loss. This is why their joy fades, their plans falter, and their nights grow restless. The energy that once shielded them was you. The Bible puts it clearly in Psalm 105, 115. Touch not my anointed ones and do my prophets no harm. When they harmed you, they disturbed divine order. Your absence isn't just emotional, it's spiritual justice unfolding. So if you've ever wondered why peace follows you and chaos trails behind those who wronged you, remember this: your glow was never ordinary. You were the covering that protected them from storms they didn't even know were coming. Now that you're gone, those storms have arrived. So don't look back, chosen one. Your silence speaks louder than revenge, and your elevation is proof that God has moved you beyond their reach. Point one, your energy was their blessing. Chosen one, what they didn't realize is that being connected to you wasn't just a coincidence. It was a divine setup. You were placed in their life for a reason. Your presence was spiritual currency. Your prayers were unseen protection. And your kindness was a covering they never knew they needed. You carried divine favor, the kind that silently blesses everyone around you. When you walked into their world, things started aligning. Unexpected opportunities appeared, peace entered their home, and chaos seemed to quiet down. They might have thought it was luck, but it wasn't. It was your energy, your God-given frequency, creating a shift in the atmosphere. There's a real phenomenon behind this. Studies on emotional contagion and energy psychology suggest that human energy, our moods, intentions, and focus, can influence others in measurable ways. When you operate from a place of love, gratitude, and spiritual awareness, your energy field literally vibrates at a higher frequency, and people who come near you start to resonate with that frequency. It's like tuning forks. Strike one and the others begin to vibrate in harmony. That's what you do, chosen one. You bring harmony into chaos without even trying. But here's the twist: they didn't see it that way. Instead of valuing your light, they took it for granted. Some even tried to dim it. They mistook your patience for weakness and your forgiveness for naivety. They didn't realize that being around someone with divine protection meant being under spiritual shelter. Your prayers were their covering. Your calmness absorbed their storms. Your laughter balanced their darkness. You were their divine insurance policy. And when they chose pride, gossip, or betrayal, they unknowingly canceled that coverage. Now look at what's happening. They feel heavy, lost, and unlucky. Things that once came easily now slip through their fingers. The peace they used to feel when you were around. Gone, the opportunities that seemed to follow them. Vanished because what they thought was just coincidence was actually your energy field interceding for them. Spiritually, they unplugged from a divine source, and when you disconnect from the light, the shadows rush in. There's even a biblical principle for this. In Genesis, when Joseph was sold into slavery, God still favored him. Wherever Joseph went, others were blessed simply by being connected to him. Potiphar's household prospered, not because Potiphar was especially righteous, but because Joseph carried divine favor. But when people mistreat favor, the blessing departs with the vessel. The same pattern happens today, chosen one. When they dishonor you, they forfeit access to the grace that followed you. You see, your energy is sacred. It's not just good vibes. It's divine technology. It's spiritual frequency, backed by prayer, integrity, and love. People feel lighter when they're around you because your spirit radiates purity and calm. And when you leave, they feel the contrast like a cold room after the fire goes out. That emptiness, that confusion, that's what it feels like to live without divine alignment. But here's what's powerful. You don't need to chase, explain, or prove anything. The same light they misused is now the lesson they're learning. Sometimes your absence is the only sermon they'll ever understand. You were the blessing in human form, and walking away didn't remove love, it removed protection. So stand tall, chosen one. Your energy is holy ground. Protect it, honor it, and know that those who truly value it will never risk losing it again, because now they know their peace, their progress, and their protection were never luck. It was you carrying divine favor, keeping their world from falling apart. Point 2, you exposed their darkness. When you were around, your energy didn't just enter the room, it shifted it. You didn't have to say much. Your presence itself carried a frequency that was hard to ignore. For most, it felt like warmth, peace, and light. But for others, especially those who wore masks or lived in denial of their true selves, your energy was like a mirror that exposed every hidden shadow they tried to keep buried. You didn't shame them. You didn't judge them. You simply were. And that authenticity alone made them uncomfortable. You see, when someone is used to performing, the presence of truth feels like confrontation. Your purity of spirit didn't accuse them with words. It silently showed them who they were avoiding becoming, or worse, what they had become. The energy of a chosen one carries something scientists now call coherence. It's a measurable harmony between the mind, body, and heart. The HeartMath Institute, for example, has found that our hearts emit electromagnetic fields that affect the people around us. A calm, compassionate heart radiates order and stability, while fear and deceit radiate chaos. When your heart is coherent, it can unconsciously bring out incoherence in others. It's like your energy invites their hidden pain, guilt, or envy to the surface. They start feeling uneasy, not because you're too much, but because your very peace challenges the turmoil they've normalized. And so when you left, that mirror went with you. For a while, They might have felt relieved. No more reminders of what they refused to fix. But as silence settled, the truth began to echo. They started to realize that the discomfort they blamed on you wasn't your fault. It was their own soul reacting to light it couldn't handle. The kindness you offered them wasn't manipulation, it was medicine. But instead of healing, they ran. Instead of looking inward, they projected outward. That's the painful irony of the chosen one's journey. Your love often becomes the very thing people reject, not because it was wrong, but because it was real. And now that you're gone, they're left sitting with the same shadows you once softened just by being near. They replay your words, your calmness, your silence. They remember how you didn't fight, didn't argue, didn't match their chaos. You simply stayed rooted in peace. And now that peace haunts them, the same energy they tried to dismiss has become the lesson they can't escape. They're realizing that what they called too sensitive, too deep, or too much was actually the exact energy they needed to evolve. You were the reflection of their highest potential, but because they weren't ready to rise, they mistook it for judgment. This is the invisible revenge of the chosen one. Not vengeance through action, but revelation through absence. You didn't need to destroy their reputation, expose their flaws, or clap back at their betrayal. Life did it for you. The truth always echoes in the silence you leave behind. And what burns them most isn't your success, your peace, or your distance. It's the realization that you were never the problem. Their discomfort was self-created, born from the clash between your authenticity and their illusion. So, chosen one, never regret the love you gave or the light you shared. You were a mirror meant to awaken, not to please. Some people have to lose your presence to understand its power. And when that realization hits them, that it wasn't you, it was their inability to stand next to someone so pure without feeling small, it cuts deeper than any revenge ever could. Because the truth is, your absence became their teacher, and your light, even from afar, continues to expose what darkness still fears the most: itself. Point 3. They're haunted by memories of you. Chosen one, have you ever noticed how certain people claim they've moved on, but somehow your name keeps echoing in their conversations like a melody they can't stop humming? That's not coincidence, that's spiritual residue. When a chosen one walks through someone's life, they don't just pass by. They leave an imprint. You weren't just a side character in their story. You were the divine mirror that revealed who they really were when no one else was watching. That's why they can't forget you. Their soul remembers the energy you carried, even if their ego refuses to admit it. See, when you entered their life, you brought something their spirit had never experienced before: authenticity. You didn't wear masks, you didn't play games, and that raw truth unsettled them. In a world addicted to pretense, your light was too bright, too pure, too confronting. You were a walking reminder of the goodness they had buried under pride, fear, or deceit. And when they betrayed you, mocked you, or gossiped about you, they thought they were breaking you, but in reality they were breaking their own spiritual mirror. Because once a person mistreats a chosen one, they lose access to the very energy that was elevating them. Psychologists might call it cognitive dissonance, that uncomfortable tension when a person's actions don't align with what they know to be right. But on a higher level, it's divine justice in motion. Their mind replays those memories, not as nostalgia, but as spiritual correction. It's that late night thought that whispers, you shouldn't have done them like that. It's that random song that reminds them of your energy. It's that wave of guilt that crashes in when they see someone who moves like you, speaks like you, or carries your peace. They try to bury it under pride, but God keeps resurrecting that conviction until they face it. The truth is, chosen ones are catalysts. Your presence awakens, exposes, and transforms. Some people handle that awakening with humility. They grow from it. Others run from it because it forces them to face the version of themselves they've been avoiding. And when they run, they try to rewrite the narrative, painting you as the villain, the problem, or the too much. But time has a funny way of revealing truth. As life humbles them, they start to see that you weren't their problem. You were their lesson. You were the moment when God tried to show them love through human form, but they couldn't recognize it because it didn't come wrapped in the package they expected. And now, they scroll through your social media, pretending not to care. They ask mutual friends subtle questions. They hear your name and act unbothered, but inside something stirs. It's not obsession, it's conviction. Their spirit knows they mishandled someone divine. And while you've evolved, healed, and stepped into your purpose, they're still spiritually stuck in the chapter where they lost you. This is why the chosen ones are often misunderstood and even resented after walking away. Your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. You were peace disguised as a person, and now that peace is gone. But don't waste time trying to prove your worth or fix what's already been divinely settled. The same God who saw how they treated you is the same God orchestrating their reflection. Let them talk. Let them remember. Let them wrestle with the weight of what they lost. Because your story was never meant to end in their chapter. It was meant to be the one they'll never stop rereading, wondering how they let a miracle slip through their hands. Point 4, your glow up is their karma. Here's where it gets juicy, because this is where the tables truly turn for the chosen ones. While the world is busy, trying to figure out why everything feels heavy, confusing, and chaotic, you're over there, glowing, grounded, and walking with divine purpose. It's not that your life has been easier. In fact, you've probably faced storms that would have broken most people. But the difference is, you didn't just survive the fire. You learned how to walk through it without getting burned. You alchemized pain into wisdom, betrayal into boundaries, and rejection into redirection. That's the quiet superpower of the chosen ones, transformation. Every scar you carry isn't a mark of defeat. It's a signature of divine refinement. Psychologists say that trauma can either destroy a person or awaken something powerful within them. This is known as post-traumatic growth, a real psychological phenomenon where individuals emerge from pain with higher levels of wisdom, resilience, and purpose. That's exactly what happened to you. You didn't just heal, you evolved. The same fire that was meant to consume you became your source of light. That glow people see isn't luck or vanity, it's survival, purified through faith and perseverance. And this is where things get uncomfortable for the ones who once doubted you. Every time they see you winning, calm or at peace, it's like holding a mirror up to their own choices. Your success silently exposes their stagnation. They begin to realize that while they were busy gossiping, competing, or wishing for your downfall, you were busy building. You became the walking evidence that God fights battles differently, not with noise, but with elevation. You didn't clap back, you climbed higher. You didn't chase revenge, you chose redemption. That's divine strategy in motion. There's a reason the Bible says, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Exodus 14:14. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means trusting that your growth and obedience will speak louder than any rumor. While they plotted, you prayed. While they schemed, you studied. And now the very peace they tried to disturb is the peace they can't stop talking about. The irony is, you didn't even intend to make anyone jealous. You were just following your calling, walking the path laid out for you. But your existence became a spiritual mirror, revealing the insecurities, laziness, and unresolved bitterness in others. When people see you rise after everything you have endured, it challenges their narrative. They start to question why they're still stuck in the same emotional loops while you, the one they underestimated, now radiate peace and divine authority. But here's the twist. They don't realize that your glow came with a price. The nights of crying, the lonely seasons, the silent prayers, the heartbreaks you never spoke about. All of that was your training ground. Chosen ones aren't made in comfort. They're forged in isolation. Every closed door, every betrayal, every delay, it all served a purpose. You were being refined for the spotlight that you now stand in effortlessly. So when they see you thriving, understand this. It's not just success that triggers them. It's the grace with which you carry it. You didn't need to brag, prove, or explain. You just kept walking with faith, and now the evidence of divine favor speaks for itself. That's what hurts them the most. Not that you won, but that you did it without stooping to their level, without bitterness, without revenge. You see, chosen one, God doesn't elevate to embarrass others. He elevates to reveal who was truly walking in integrity all along. Your peace, your glow, your success, they're not accidents, they're receipts of divine justice, and that's why, no matter how hard they try to understand it, they'll never replicate it. Because it wasn't man who put you there. It was destiny. Point 5, they thought you needed them. Now they need you. Oh, chosen one. This part cuts deep, doesn't it? Once upon a time, they looked at you and saw someone dependent, someone who needed their validation, their approval, and their energy to survive. But now, the tables have turned in a way they never saw coming. The same people who once doubted your worth are now haunted by your absence. They thought you needed them, but life, in its poetic symmetry, has revealed that it was always the other way around. You were the peace in their chaos, the calm in their storm, and the light they dimmed without realizing it was their only source of warmth. See, when you carry divine energy, you don't have to shout your worth. Your presence itself speaks volumes. Psychologically, this is called emotional contrast. People grow accustomed to your stability, your kindness, and your healing nature until it's gone. And once you withdraw, they experience emotional withdrawal symptoms, much like detoxing from a substance. Studies in behavioral psychology actually show that the human brain becomes attached to emotional consistency, especially when it's nurturing and calming. You were their safe space, chosen one. And when that safe space vanished, they were forced to face the emotional void they'd been hiding behind you. They mocked your peace because it made them uncomfortable. They mistook your quiet nature for weakness, your forgiveness for naivety, and your patience for submission. But your silence was never emptiness. It was strategy. It was protection. It was God pulling you away to heal in private, so your growth would no longer be at the mercy of those who misunderstood you. Your disappearance was not rejection. It was redirection. When you vanished, You created a divine echo in their lives, a haunting reminder of what they lost when they played games with someone who was never playing to begin with. And that's the irony, isn't it? Your absence taught them the lesson your presence couldn't. When you stopped answering, they started questioning. When you stopped explaining, they started remembering. When you stopped showing up, they finally saw how much of their peace depended on yours. It's almost spiritual justice, how silence, once underestimated, becomes the loudest sermon. In energetic terms, what's happening is the withdrawal of frequency. Your vibration was high, pure, and healing. When you pulled it back, they were left vibrating at their true level, chaotic, uncentered, and lost. Even neuroscience backs this up. Human beings emit electromagnetic fields, and your energy genuinely affects the emotional states of people around you. You didn't just bring peace, you were peace. And when that electromagnetic harmony disappeared, their nervous systems felt it. That's why they're restless. That's why they can't sleep. That's why your name keeps echoing in their minds like a song they can't stop humming. But here's where it gets divine. Your silence isn't vengeance, it's evolution. You didn't ghost them out of spite. You ascended out of necessity. You learned that your healing doesn't require an audience, and your forgiveness doesn't require reconciliation. The real glow-up was never about proving them wrong. It was about remembering who you are. Because when you're chosen, God hides you, not to punish others, but to protect your anointing. So let them wonder, let them replay your last words, and let them scroll through old photos and realize what they threw away. Because while they're haunted by what they lost, you're glowing with what you found, your peace, your power, your purpose. You're no longer the one waiting for closure, chosen one. You are the closure. And your silence, it will echo louder than any apology ever could. Point 6, God blocked their access for a reason. Chosen ones, understand this clearly. Your absence was never a coincidence. It was divine orchestration. Life may have felt like it was falling apart, friendships dissolving, opportunities slipping through your fingers, rooms growing quieter, and people suddenly turning cold. But behind that silence was not rejection, it was redirection. You see, God doesn't remove you from environments because you are weak. He removes you because you are valuable. There were things spoken about you behind closed doors, decisions made in shadows, and hearts that smiled at your face but planned differently behind your back. You couldn't hear it, but God could. And so in his wisdom, he pulled you out of situations before the venom reached your spirit. Psychologically speaking, separation often precedes transformation. Neuroscience even supports this. When a person detaches from toxic environments, their nervous system begins to regulate again. Peace returns. Clarity grows sharper. Your spiritual vibration rises. That's why after certain people or places left your life, you began to sleep better, think clearer, and breathe deeper. It wasn't loneliness, it was healing. Sometimes divine isolation is the only way God can reset your mind and realign your purpose. Think of Joseph in the Bible. His own brothers sold him into slavery, and yet that betrayal positioned him for greatness. God didn't show Joseph the betrayal ahead of time because the pain was part of the plan. Similarly, your absence was a silent move in God's chess game. While you thought you were forgotten, God was setting up your promotion behind the scenes. He had to move you before the snakes revealed their fangs, and now, without you there, their own actions are betraying them. Sociologically, this is fascinating. When a stabilizing force leaves a group, a calm, wise, spiritual energy, the true nature of that group is revealed. Jealousy turns to conflict. Gossip turns to division. And those who pretended loyalty start exposing themselves. You weren't the problem. You were the glue. And when the glue is gone, everything that was fake falls apart. That's what's happening right now. Their masks are slipping. Their power was borrowed from your presence, and your absence is their undoing. Chosen ones, there's a spiritual law that many overlook. You cannot touch what is sacred without consequence. Those who plotted against you didn't realize you were divinely marked. You didn't need to retaliate or defend yourself because energy never lies. Whatever they sent toward you, life sent right back to them. Their doors are closing, not because you wished harm, but because God is balancing the scales. What they meant for your downfall became their own lesson in humility. And here's where it gets beautiful. While their season of exposure unfolds, your season of elevation begins. You're walking lighter now because your spirit is no longer entangled in webs of deceit. You've been purified by solitude. You've learned to depend not on applause, but on divine confirmation. What they mistook for weakness was actually training. What they saw as silence was your spirit recharging. So when you look back and wonder why God removed certain people or blocked certain opportunities, remember this: He was protecting your purpose. Every delay, every detour, every disconnection was a divine rerouting to something greater. Their downfall is not your victory, it's their awakening. Your victory is your peace, your wisdom, and your unwavering faith. You didn't lose anything, you were being refined. And now, chosen one, you're stepping onto the very stage God cleared for you while the world thought you had vanished. Point 7, your peace is their punishment. This is the most powerful truth, chosen one. Your peace is driving them crazy. They expected your story to end in tears, in defeat, in a desperate attempt to win their approval back. But instead you shocked them with silence. You healed, you glowed up. You walked through the fire and came out with light in your eyes and grace in your step. And that peace, that stillness, that unbothered energy, it's not ordinary, it's divine. It's the calm after a storm only God could silence. See, most people don't understand that peace is a frequency, a vibration that sits higher than fear, gossip, or hate. Science even backs this up. When you're at peace, your nervous system moves out of fight or flight and into rest and repair. Your body literally begins to heal itself. Your mind becomes sharper, your decisions clearer, and your energy more magnetic. That's why your glow-up isn't just physical, it's spiritual and biological. People who once laughed at your struggles can feel that peace radiating off you, and it unsettles them because it's proof that you didn't just survive, you evolved. The truth is, chosen ones don't seek revenge, they don't chase explanations or closure. They understand that silence and peace are the loudest forms of victory. While others throw stones, you plant seeds. While they gossip, you grow. You became unbothered because you realized that your battle was never with people. It was with the energy behind them. You stopped trying to prove your worth to the world and started aligning with the one who gave it to you in the first place. Spiritually speaking, your peace is God's fingerprint. It's His signature on your life saying, I've got this one covered. That's why no weapon formed against you prospers. It can't touch what's divinely protected. When you chose stillness over reaction, you shifted the power dynamic. You stopped being the target and became the testimony. You became living evidence that grace is louder than gossip. And oh, how that bothers people who once thought they had power over you. They can't stand to see you glowing in peace when they expected you to drown in pain. They stalk your silence like it owes them an explanation. They try to provoke you, hoping to see that old version of you, the one who argued, defended, and doubted. But that version is gone. You've outgrown that battlefield. You learned that peace doesn't mean avoiding conflict. It means mastering it internally before it even starts externally. Think of Jesus during the storm on the boat. Everyone panicked while he slept. That's divine peace. It's not ignorance of chaos. It's confidence in control. You, chosen one, embody that same peace. The world can tremble, but your soul remains still, because your peace isn't man-made, it's heaven-backed. And when you carry that kind of energy, it disrupts the atmosphere. Your calmness reveals who's truly chaotic. Your silence exposes who thrives on drama. Your glow irritates those still living in darkness. It's not that they hate you. They hate what your peace reflects, their own lack of it. So remember this, chosen one, your peace is your greatest weapon. In psychology, peace is linked to emotional regulation, which activates the parasympathetic nervous system and calms the body's stress response. Each time you choose prayer over panic, stillness over shouting, and faith over fear, you're not being passive. You're training your brain to operate from strength rather than survival. You don't need to chase validation or prove your worth. Your stillness itself radiates authority. People may mistake your calm for surrender, but true surrender is not weakness. It's strategic alignment with divine order. When you release control, you make space for God to fight your unseen battles. That's why your absence becomes power, your silence becomes influence, and your peace becomes armor. The moment you walked away, the spiritual balance shifted. God began turning what was meant to break you into the reason you rise. So keep walking in serenity. You've already won, and heaven itself bears witness to it.